I swear, every time I go to show this marker, it flips around the other way. I did switch it out. I had my ghost pumpkin pie and now I have my regular pumpkin pie because it's November. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Nitty Natty. Welcome to episode 252 of the Love in Stitches podcast. Today I am in Pennsylvania. You may recognize this behind me. I've actually done a podcast here, I think one time before last year. But if you recognize any of this yarn, it's because I am at my friend Brianna and Michael's house, and Brianna is the dyer behind the Little Wolf Knit. So this is like her yarn for sale / I think also her stash, but she let me come into this room today to do a podcast. I'm so excited to be in here. Actually, I am wearing one of her patterns. So I don't know why I have my sweatshirt on top of this. Sorry, I'm wearing the twisted t-shirt. It's really cute, but I got a little chilly. So I have my Traveler by Andrea Mowry on over the top of it. I'm actually wearing lots of knitting today. I also have socks on. Ow, this is difficult. These are my, I think they're called the Cider House socks, but they're by Summer Lee, and I made them a couple years ago with Sockmas yarn. So I think that's everything at the top here. I do have a finished object this week. I've been making lots of progress, and I have a little something else to show you that I've been working on. The most exciting thing is that I have finished my Beetlejuice blanket. So this pattern is the Crochet Advent Baby Blanket by Lucy & Crochet. It's my third time making it and my first time doing a border or adding a border to it. Now, this yarn is the Little Wolf Knits yarn. It was her October countdown, which was Beetlejuice themed. So just about every day in October, I opened up a mini skein. I did 4 rows, which was 1 stripe of the blanket. And I tried to do that every single day. I got really behind somewhere in the middle of the month. Then I got caught up by last week. And then I was able to stick to my daily stripe. And then on the very last day, we opened up a full skein of yarn. And I used that to do the border. I actually also used it at the very beginning to cast on. That way I had the same amount of yarn for every single stripe, and that worked out really nicely. So to sum things up, I started on October 1st. I finished yesterday, which was November 3rd, I think. So just about a month. It took me more than one day to do the border. And then these are the little balls I have left over from every single day. I haven't weighed them yet, but if I had to guess, it would be between 2 and 3 grams of yarn. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with these leftovers. In the past, with teeny tiny little leftovers, I have tied them together into a magic knot ball and used them in a scrappy project. I've also gifted them to people. I've also used them for, I made a muscle bro hat with teeny tiny skinny stripes on one side and a solid color on the other side. That was really cool. So there's lots of options for these leftovers. Right now, I just have all of them back in their little houses because that tells me the colorway name and also the order. More importantly, the order. If I wanted to make another project and I wanted to keep it in the same order, it would be very easy for me to do so. And then for the full skein, I actually used a lot of it. I also haven't weighed this. Sorry. I will try to weigh them and put it into my project page notes, but I probably used at least 50 grams. I would say probably about 50 grams or maybe 40 grams on that. It's hard to tell. So let me show you what this looks like. Can I come stand? Just for you to get a sense of the size. So for this version, I did change a few things about the pattern and I changed a few things from my previous ones. So I did use the suggested stitch count. So this blanket is wider than all the other ones that I've made. And I have notes on my page on like how I modified my other ones and how many stitches I took off. And I did that because this one is for my husband Kent and I wanted it to be as big as possible and also use as much yarn as possible. Now, if I made the blanket narrower, I still don't think I could have gotten an extra row out of these colors, and I wanted every stripe to be perfectly even. I've seen people like, you can, magic knot your minis together, or you can just add in, the next color wherever you end, whether it's in the middle of the row or not. And that also looks really good. But for this particular project, I did not want to do that. I wanted my stripes to be even. So I do have leftovers, but not much. So I think it came out really nice. It is, I would say it's rectangular, but not like perfectly rectangular. Like it is kind of squat right now. But that was kind of intentional because I have another one of these blankets that I've been using for at least a couple of years, and it has stretched in length a ton. So I anticipate that this will also stretch in length. And so I wanted to give it the maximum width, because when it stretches in length, it loses a little bit of width, and also it will look more even. It will look more like a rectangular kind of standard size blanket. So I think it's looking good. I need to do measurements. I need to block it, or at least just like wash it and lay it out to dry. And then I have a few ends I still need to weave in, but I did the rest of them, all the stripes, as I went. Okay, so let's talk about, oh wait, actually, while I'm talking about that, I wanted to show you this other blanket. So this is Toasters. This one, oh yeah, the other change I made, sorry. I took out all of the in-between main color rows in the original pattern. You will also work a row of main color in between each stripe, and I did not do that because I have 30 colors versus 24 colors. And so I can get still a lot of length out of the blanket, similar to this one, which I did with Fangirl Fibers Pokemon Summer Countdown. I think she's had 2 since then. This was the very first one. So maybe this has been 3 years. I can't remember that I've had this one. This is Toaster's blanket. It is worn and loved. It's also a different base. I think it's an 80-20, whereas this is a 75-25, so slightly different. This one's maybe a little more dense, but I want to show you. I did cast on fewer stitches, but it's grown so much in length. So this one is definitely like almost like too skinny now for the width. It's not, but it is pretty skinny. But I was comparing, and let me see if I can show you this because it's kind of hard to show and hold up to the camera. But I was putting the two blankets side by side and kind of comparing the stripe, like depth. Let's see, let me find a color. A lot of these colors kind of blend into each other, so it's hard to tell where one stops and where the next one ends. So let's see. Okay, this is actually easier. So I am just gonna compare from like this stripe down. So like on this side, and I know it's gonna be hard to see, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and it kind of ends right here, right? So if I count back up on this side, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's not, I think I actually might have counted that wrong because now I'm on camera. Basically, my point is that this thing is gonna stretch, and when you compare the two blankets side by side, the one that's been used has fewer stripes per inch. Therefore, when this actually gets used and stretched out, it will grow in length. So I'm not really worried about it right now being more square than rectangular. I would say right now when you put this, or when I try it on, because it's not for me, it's for Kent, I can cover my toes like almost up to my hip crease. So it's not a massive blanket. It's definitely a lap blanket. But if you were sitting like crisscross on the couch or with your legs tucked in, or if you just kind of want to cover your feet like and legs, this is the perfect size blanket to do so. It's also really great for pets and also really great for babies. That's why it's called the Crochet Advent Baby Blanket. Now, for the first time, I decided I was going to add a border since I had this main skein to add in, and also because it's a main skein that is pretty blendy with the rest of the colors. It's not like a super stark contrast, so I thought that would look pretty good. So what I did, and this is not part of the pattern, so I put notes on my project page, but they're not like the best. Like if you're even like a decent crocheter, you can probably do this better than me. So just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, and then if you are very familiar with chevrons and borders and stuff, please add your own things in. This is not a pattern is what I'm trying to say. Basically, it's just a starting place. So essentially, I have worked 5 rounds of half double crochet around the entire blanket. So what I can tell you is I did the zigzag on the top, pretty much the same as all the rest of the pattern. It is a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to give you exactly what I did. I worked 3 stitches in the corner because when you're working like a border, you need to increase. Down the sides here, I figured out that I needed 8 stitches per stripe. So what that looked like for me, and you can see that there, I think, is basically into each row end, I did 2 half double crochets. So that first round takes a while, right? Because there you go. Takes a while because you're getting all of your stitches. But after that, it went pretty fast. So it probably took me like a whole day to do the first round, not a whole day, but like a whole evening. And then I did a few rounds the next day and a few rounds the day after that, I think. So a few days in total for me to do the border. And then when you get to the bottom of the blanket, you're essentially working the same chevron, except you need to kind of increase on the edges because your chevron is like inverse of the top where you're decreasing. So again, I have notes on my project page. They're not the most perfect notes, but you can kind of visually see what's happening as you're adding a border if that's something that you would like to do. And I will try to get all the rest of my information, like the weight of my leftovers and all of those things in here before this goes live. So all in all, I'm really happy with this. I need to go ahead and finish weaving in those ends and block it. Maybe I can go ahead and do that tonight. We are staying at a friend's, which makes it so much easier to do so. She also has a spin dryer, so that might be nice to, so, I'm gonna wet block it and soak it and then throw it in the spin dryer. I think I might do that later today. Since my blanket is now finished and I'm not having those daily tasks, I think it took me a couple of hours for each stripe. I super enjoyed it, but now I'm also really excited to put a lot more time into my Salty Days sweater, which I have done. I actually just ran out to the car to grab my 3rd ball of Knitting for Olive mohair. So let me show you, and I'm gonna need another ball of my worsted weight too soon. Okay, here is what it's looking like. It looks like a whole sweater now. Obviously it's not finished, but it's looking like a sweater. I am so happy with this. So last week, I've done a lot actually. So here's my marker. I did switch it out because now, I swear, every time I go to show this marker, it flips around the other way. I did switch it out. I had my ghost pumpkin pie and now I have my regular pumpkin pie because it's November. So that works out nicely. But I did 2 major sections this week. I did my cable section and I did my second diamond section, I guess 3, because then I started on my ribbing section. So I basically have the ribbing at the bottom. I do another round of the beautiful eyelets, and then I have the actual hem ribbing. I am a little apprehensive about this hem ribbing because currently I am using a US 8 needle, which is 5 millimeters. That's the recommended needle size, and I just happen to also get gauge at that needle size. I believe the ribbing needle is like a 2.5 US, which is a huge jump. I have never seen that in a pattern before. Usually it's common to go down 1 to 2 needle sizes in the ribbing, so I'm gonna have to take a look at that and make sure I didn't read that wrong. I don't want to do something that's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of rounds of ribbing, and I feel like having a worsted weight yarn held with a, what am I using, a mohair, that's gonna be uncomfortable on a 2.5. So we'll see when I get there. I might adjust that slightly, maybe do a 3, maybe do a 4, because that's a pretty major difference. And I am not willing to sacrifice my hands or comfort or enjoyment of the project just for that aesthetic. Like, I don't know. I also could be wrong. I need to look at that again, but I think that's what I saw. Wild. So you know what? I better just check because I should correct myself now before everyone's like, well, you're wrong. That's not what you're actually going to use. Let me just see. Yes, so it says change to a 3 millimeter US 2.5. That is kind of wild. 3 millimeter US 2.5. I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't know yet. I will hopefully let you know next week because I do want to get the body of this finished this week and then get started on the ribbing. I will probably go back and do the collar first because I like to do that, and then I'm able to kind of try things on, see if I like where this is falling on me before I do the bottom ribbing, and especially before I bind off. I want to block this before I do the sewn bind off on the bottom. Okay, there's a couple of things I wanted to mention, just in case you're making the sweater or you make it in the future. So the first is for this cable section here. Now, as I'm holding this up, it's not as noticeable as it was when I first started making this, but I believe there is an extra knit row right here before you start the cables. So on the bottom, there's one knit round. And actually for all of this, there's one knit round between all of this. It's garter. But at the top, for whatever reason, you do an extra knit round. So I believe you do a knit round to connect. I'm trying to remember. You do a knit round to connect everything. You do one more knit round, and then you start with the garter. I feel like aesthetically, it would look better to just have one knit round. And when I looked at the pattern and I zoomed in, it honestly looks like she only has one knit round and not two in between there. So I checked and triple checked and quadruple checked that I was reading the instructions right. And I'm pretty sure I was. I'm pretty sure it was one knit round to connect everything, one more knit round, and then into the garter. If I were to make this again, I would not do that extra knit round. I would go straight into the cables and the garter because when I look at it, I'm seeing that extra like gap in there. So if you're making this pattern, maybe make a note of that. You can kind of see for yourself what you think. The whole rest of that whole section only has one knit round in between things, so it will help it to match. I can't think of any other reason you need that knit round. Now, the last thing is this diamond section. It's actually a pretty easy stitch. You do it up here flat, and then you do it down here in the round. And the tricky thing though, when it comes to doing it in the round, is that your diamond that spans like the marker on the side, which is the beginning of round marker, is now going to need to move because you need to be able to cross your last and first stitch of the round, essentially. And what I heard a lot of people say is that they got confused by that round. I think it's the 5th round of the diamond section. The designer, did a tutorial on most of the sweater, but I believe she left out that part in the tutorial, which is where I saw a lot of comments about people getting confused on that round. So I was, again, a little apprehensive getting into it. I'm like, okay, is this going to be really tricky? Like, what do I need to do? And whenever something is super tricky in knitting, if I'm reading it and it doesn't make sense, and I just wait until I get there. I'm like, let me just wait until I get there, and then it will probably make more sense. And that was totally the case with this. So if it's looking really intimidating, I would say wait until you get there because it's going to make a lot more sense. You're also going to have already done this twice on the front and the back. So intuitively, your brain is going to see where stitches are lining up. Now, I do think that the way that it was written could have been worded slightly differently to be a little more helpful. But all in all, I think it's still doable, like within the pattern. But because I'm me and I like to kind of play with things and figure things out, I actually ended up doing something different. So the way the designer has you configure those, like, again, first and last stitch of the round, so like crossing over your beginning of round marker, she has you do half of the stitch in the beginning, go all the way around, and then work the last half of your double decrease at the end. I decided that I didn't really like that and I wanted it to match up more. So what I did instead, and I put this in my project page, and this I actually do feel like is a helpful note. So if you are having trouble with round 5, you can try this out. I just want to see exactly what I wrote because it's also been a couple days since I did this. Okay, so what I did instead is before I even started round 5, I took my beginning of round marker out. I moved the last stitch from the previous round over, replaced my marker so that when I started my round 5, I already had all 3 stitches I needed to make that double decrease. I'd already moved my marker, so my round started like the chart, my round ended like the chart, and I didn't have to do something at the beginning and something at the end of the round. Does that kind of make sense? I put exactly what I did in a paragraph in my notes of this project page, if that would be something that would be useful to you. So don't be afraid. You can do it. This sweater has been so much fun. I've enjoyed every single second of it. I'm enjoying the yarn. I'm enjoying the stitches. It's been so nice. Now I'm in a nice, easy part. We were watching a movie last night. I was able to work on it while watching the movie, which was wonderful. So I'm kind of just cruising along at this point. I'm a little sad that most of the excitement is over. I don't have any more cables. I don't have any more lace, or actually I think there is a little bit on the sleeves. But not too much craziness left. So I am planning to continue to swatch. I shared a sweater last week, the Nordlig cardigan, that I'm planning to start soon, but I need to re-swatch it, which I did not do this week. So I'm gonna kind of incorporate a second sweater in, and we'll see how that goes. My last project here got a new look yesterday. I switched out my project bag from a Halloween one to this really cute one with campers and tents on it from Huckleberry Girl. Super cute. It also has really nice fabric on the inside. And I have renamed these, not actually, it's still the same thing on my project page, but in my head, I'm trying to rebrand these as not Halloween socks, because calling them Halloween socks makes me not want to work on them. Even though this colorway is called Halloweentown and they're definitely Halloween colors, I'm like, these are my November socks now. I want to finish them. So I'm trying to pursue and work through. I'm trying to persevere and work through it. So I've done a little bit. I finished the leg. I did a heel flop and gusset, which is wild. I haven't done a heel flop and gusset. I think I did one in the last year. And then before that, I don't even know. I usually don't do a heel flop and gusset, but I'm finding them not as bad as I used to remember them to be. They definitely take longer than a short row heel, but what I'm trying to work out with this sock in particular is I am trying to figure out a really great sock for hiking and potentially write a pattern. So I'm testing out different things, different ribbing, different lengths in the sections, increasing, decreasing, heel flap. And then the other thing I'm trying out, thanks to one of you, is I am trying slip stitching. Oh, can you see it? Slip stitching for the arch. So I am just working basically the same thing that I did on the heel, which is a slip one, knit one, and then knit one round, basically. So like, you know, on your heel, you do a slip one, knit one across, and then you turn and you purl all the way back. So since I'm in the round for this, I'm doing a slip one, knit one round, and then knit on the other round, just on the bottom of the heel, or on the bottom of the foot. So I just started that yesterday. I'm kind of curious to see how that will affect the fit. It should draw things in just a little bit. And because it's not an actual ribbing, it's not going to create like super different texture on the inside, because I know I'm sometimes one of these people where I get really sensitive with changes in textures. Like I know some people who can't even stand purl bumps and will knit the bottom, or will purl the bottom of the foot so that the knit side is on the inside for them. I'm not one of those people, but I do find that texture sometimes bothers me. So I like that this is still very much smooth. So yeah, it's going. It's going pretty well. Now in the Love and Stitches membership, this month, we are doing something called whip wrap up. And so I have made more progress on my whips, I feel like, than I have in weeks. Also because I am getting to be staying in one place for the most part and have more time to work on my projects. And I also just came off of a really relaxing and knit and crochet heavy weekend. But having the whip wrap up helps me like focus on one whip at a time, like whether it's for the day or for the hour or even a 30-minute challenge. So that's been really nice to have. And it's the only thing keeping me motivated to work on these Halloween socks. Not much traveling has been happening lately, although we did go from one state to the next. We drove about 2.5 hours, which is more than we did last week. So we actually started out the week in New Jersey, staying with my friends Amy and Ian. If you watched last week's podcast, that's where I was podcasting from. Oh, 2 weeks in a row, I get to podcast in front of friends yarn. That's actually really fun. So we were in New Jersey. We celebrated Halloween there, which was really fun because they live in a neighborhood that has a lot of kids that come through. So there was trick-or-treating. I was sitting on the patio. It was like a beautiful day. I think it was 75 or 80 degrees on Halloween. So I had my crochet blanket. I was working on the border, figuring that out. People were, coming up, trick-or-treating. That was really, really fun. We watched Halloween or tried to watch a Halloween movie, but it was great. It was really nice. And then the next day we headed here to Pennsylvania to hang out with Little Wolf Knits. So we're here for the next week or so. And then we will be off to Ohio next. That's our next state that we need to check off our list. Actually, we only have 2 left. We have Ohio and we have South Carolina because last week, we were in New Jersey and we filmed at Chelsea Luxe Yarn. And I picked up this skein, which is called Red Bank because they are in Red Bank, New Jersey, and I just love this colorway. I got Christina is her name. I got Christina's advent calendar last year, and it's all of her yarns are so fun. So we actually got to go to their house where her dye studio is, meet her and her husband Tad and their dog Gretzky, and film and get to interview her. That's going to be coming out in January. So it was so much fun, and I got another skein of yarn for my blanket. Going back to the fact that we're wrapping up whips this month, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I need to work on my crochet advent baby blanket. Not crochet advent baby blanket, sorry. My brain is not there. My, what is it called? My hexie blanket? Summer Fade Hexie Blanket. I knew it had a long name. I knew there was something to it because I haven't worked on it in months and I've been gathering lots of yarn, but I think that will be something that I'm going to need to do in December or maybe even January when my brain is there because I've definitely got some organizing to do with my yarn before I'm ready to tackle that project again. So that may be a new year thing to do, but I'm still getting yarn because it's just way too much fun. Okay, what else have we done this week? Okay, so once we got to Pennsylvania, yesterday we went to Bacon Fest in Easton? Oh, now I'm going to forget the name of the town, but it was really cute. It's like in their town square and then like spokes out onto different streets, but it's all these food vendors and a couple of non-food vendors, but mostly food vendors that have bacon related things. So we tried bacon macaroni and cheese, fried macaroni and cheese balls, of course, like jalapeno poppers with bacon on them. I tried a bacon coffee, which to me did not taste like bacon. It kind of just tasted like maple and chocolate, but it was still pretty good. We even saw the crab mac and cheese place that's at Rhinebeck, and we asked them, and they're actually the people that were at Rhinebeck a couple weeks, or the same booth. I don't know if it was the same people, but they were at Rhinebeck a couple of weekends ago, which is so funny. So that was a really good time. Yeah, we're enjoying ourselves these last few weeks getting to be stationary and in one place, but it will also be nice when we get back to my parents' house in December and we're just like in one place for months. That'll be strange, but it will be very, very good. Okay, last thing that I've been working on this week. I am learning to spin. So this, I literally learned yesterday. So this is not the greatest, but you know what? I am learning. So Brianna is teaching me how to spin. This is her first electric spinning wheel that she got, and so she's no longer using it. So she's letting me try it out. I am liking it so far, but I am literally an hour into it. So we are filming every single day as I am learning new things, trying new fibers and experiencing things. So it was going really great yesterday. It was not going great today. So hopefully by the end of my time here, which we have about another week, I will be super improved. I'm not expecting to be really good at it, but I just want to get better so that I can go on my own and practice. So I'm filming it every single day so that I can put it all together in a nice little vlog so that maybe if you want to try spinning, you can see a little bit of what it's like before you try anything out. So that's probably been my most exciting thing this week. Let's talk about what is coming up. First, we have a virtual yarn store tour this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, as always, on YouTube. We are going to Knits and Pieces in Annapolis, Maryland. You're going to love this store. This was a really sweet group to meet. We had a great time hanging out with them. I'm excited for you to see the store. We have so many, honestly, so many good ones coming up. These were a lot of new states for us that we hadn't been to. Maryland is not a new state for us, but a lot of the ones coming up are brand new states for us, brand new stores. So it's going to be really fun. So join us on Saturdays. We premiere them. We get to chat. It's really, really fun. Sockmas 2024, our Sockmas Make-Along, is coming up November 29th through December 20th. I am going to be having a couple of free things that are a part of it. So a Discord, a couple of events. I will have a sign up on my website here, hopefully in the next week or so. You can sign up to get the information to join the Discord and all of that. It's all completely free, just so that I have a way to send out that information to you. The kits are now sold out. So thank you everyone for shopping those. They were able to keep them open for a long time and added a couple more pre-orders, but now all sold out. So if you got one of those skeins, one of those bags, you are good. Now you got that. But just remember, you don't have to have those things in order to participate in Sockmas. You can make any sock pattern with any yarn, or you can also use yarn from your stash and you can make the winter magic sock pattern that I wrote, but anything is good. I want this to be able, something you want to participate in any way that you want to. Last thing in the first section here, the Love and Stitches membership opens up on December 3rd. The membership is a really wonderful thing. We are opening up in December for our next term, which will be actually 5 months long instead of 4 months. I'm trying to shift things around from us opening in December to us opening in January, like the next year. So we're making this an extra long term. So if you want to get more information about that, I will put the link down below. Vlogmas is coming up December 1st. If this is your first year being around for Vlogmas, it is so much fun. Basically in December, everything changes and we do Vlogmas. So rather than having my Tuesday videos and my podcast, I switched to doing shorter daily vlogs. I think these are so much fun. I personally really enjoy watching other people's. I usually like to watch them in the morning as I'm opening my own advents and starting to work on my project, or maybe at lunchtime. So for Vlogmas, I will actually put my videos out even earlier. So they will go out at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. That way, if you want to use it as a festive way to start your day, you can. And Vlogmas is really honestly kind of the most chill time of year because we basically just share everything that we're doing in that day. Anything that's interesting, anything that's yarn related, we take you along with us. So it's a lot of opening the advent and sharing the projects that I'm working on, similar to the podcast, just in a less formal way. Sharing restaurants we're trying, sharing places that we're going, just kind of daily life, it's really, really fun. I'm still thinking about how I want to do the yarn store tours because those will not stop in December. We'll still have yarn store tours going up on Saturday. So I am toying with the idea of having my Vlogmases go up 6 days a week. I'll still film 7 days a week, but instead of having one go up on Saturday and kind of clash with the yarn store tours, I might have an extra long one go up on Sunday. So Sundays will be 2 days worth of vlogs. So I'm still thinking about that. I'll let you know what I decide. Either way, I'm still filming every day and you're still getting videos every single day, which is so much fun. There are a couple of places we're going to be in the next few weeks, next month or so. We will be at Yarnbirds in Columbus, Ohio, November 15th and 16th. The meetup on Friday, the 15th, is now sold out. There's a limited amount of space, so there were tickets to join that. They were free tickets, but those are all gone now, unfortunately. But the good news is I will also be there on Saturday for the Ruby and Rose's trunk show. So if you can't make it Friday or if you didn't get a ticket, I will also be there on Saturday for, I think, most of the day. So I don't have any other plans. We will be there. And then one last meetup for the year. I will be at Copious Fibers in Irmo, South Carolina, December 3rd from 5 to 8 for their wind down. So that'll be really fun. Okay, last couple of things here. I've added some new Yarny events to the website. You can find all the Yarny events at nittynatty.com under Yarny events. So new things that we've added this week. The Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival is next year, March 7th and 8th. It's the 16th annual Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival. I've never been before, but maybe I will try to go this year. The cool thing is that Nashville is also having a yarn fest. I don't know where the Middle Tennessee Fiber Festival is, but I'm guessing it's in the Nashville area, since that's Middle Tennessee. But then there's also a new one, Nash Yarn Fest, which is March 14th and 15th, which I think is the next week. So that one's a brand new one. So I am hoping to go to that because I will be at my parents' in Nashville then. Then I have a few events that are happening in Germany. A lovely German viewer sent all of these to us. I think I saw a question that somebody said, am I going to Germany? No plans to go to Germany right now, but I do want to share as many events, fiber events that are happening around the world, which is why I welcome everyone in every country to send them to me, and I will put them on our resource page. So here are a few happening in Germany again next year. Oh gosh, and I forgot that I don't actually know how to say some of these things, so I'm just going to do the best that I can and they will be on screen. The Leipziger Wool and Sewing Market will be in Leipzig, Germany, April 5th through the 6th. The oh gosh, I should have practiced these. Kielholt? You can tell me how to say them. That will be fun. The Kielgold Wool Festival is in Duisburg, Germany, May 18th through the 19th. And this one I feel better about. The Wool Festival Kassel will be in Kassel, Germany, or Kassel, July 5th through the 6th. But again, all of these have websites. I think except for one of the German ones doesn't have a website yet, and they are linked on nittynatty.com under Yarny events. Okay. I think that's everything for today. Lots of exciting projects going on. I am eager to go work on my sweater here tonight and get more of that done. Actually, we're going to be playing musical whips today and putting on a playlist of songs and changing whips every time that happens. So maybe I can encourage myself to do my socks and also swatch on my pink sweater. I'll try to get that done. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!